Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm coming to you live from the garage today. I wanted to say hello and let you know that I'm getting ready to, by tonight, you should have all your assignments. Well, 3 starting assignments for all the classes in the classroom folder. I just out here in the garage today. It was a weird day yesterday. I don't know if you guys had the same weather at your house that we had here, but we had hail, and then we had sun, and we had wind, and we had rain, and it was a blustery day, and I'm building these greenhouses, a greenhouse to start some plants in out in the yard and to start a garden in, and the end of the greenhouse has these caps. So there's 2 panels that are these big plastic panels that get built, and then you run PVC tubes and put plastic over the top of it, and this forms this house. I don't know if any of you ever built a greenhouse, but anyways, I had the panels staked up in the backyard yesterday, and I went in the house, and the wind had come through the backyard. And I looked out, and right during one of the thunder hailstorms, it got real windy, and because the panels are these big flat, they're like a kite. The wind came into the backyard and picked up one of the panels and just lifted it up, and it went over the neighbor's fence and then smashed into their window. So I was out there talking to them today, and it was kind of a deal, because it went over the fence. It just clipped the top of the fence, and then it just went right into their window. And when it did that, it broke the window. And inside that window, they have a pretty large aquarium. And I just happened to be watching their house right now. And so, I was freaked out. I ran inside the house and to see what the damage was, and by the time I got the door open and went in there and looked on the floor, it smashed the aquarium, and there was just fish all over the floor. I mean, it's like they had a number of fish in there, and there was just fish all over the floor, just flopping around. And they had some of these, they had some in this tank that had some of those compartments, for those the black fish, the betas, those fighting fish, and so they're not separated now, and they're on the floor, and they're just like 2 of these betas are just going at each other. Like they're just like, I'm trying to work to separate the betas out, and there's water all over the floor, and there's fish flopping around on the floor, and these betas are going at each other like nobody's business, like just months of built up tension between the 2 of them that were separated in that tank. And then I guess, so when they finally got free, even though they didn't have any water, they were really, I was worried about them. And so finally get these betas separated, and I look over, and like all of the goldfish are like, there's just a trail of water headed for the bathroom, and there's like, I can hear their little yells, and I hear water running in the bathroom. I run in there, and they're on the floor, and they're jumping into the tub one at a time, each fish. And one of the goldfish is trying to adjust the water temperature with its little fin, and it's not, it just doesn't regulate it very well. And so it's like, it's too hot, and they're screaming, and then it's too cold, and I'm like trying to, get that fish in there. And in the meantime, and as soon as I left, the betas are back at it again, and they're fighting. And I mean, the whole thing was just really overwhelming. I mean, it was a big deal, so I just am kind of up here this morning processing like the whole thing. I mean, watching this little community of fish just get, by one accident in the backyard, it changes a guy, and so we got through it, and I got the fish, finally everybody in the tub, and got some separators in there for the betas, and got everybody calmed down, and I walked back out into the living room, and there's just, it was just one, snail. There was just one pretty large snail was out there. He just seemed so calm, I mean, so I went over there and sat down. He was just sweeping glass up off the floor really methodically, just, and just sitting there and just moving real slow and picking up one piece of glass and And I just asked him, I said, you know, how, like all of that just happened. How do you stay so calm? You know, like how do you, like in the face of that, you know, that aquarium disaster, how do you manage to stay like that? And, you know, he took a long pause, you know, like snails will do. And then he just looked at me and he said, you know, I'm 79 years old. And, you know, I once lived on a river bottom where sturgeon would come by and sweep up whole communities of clams and snails in their mouth. And this is nothing, you know. He says, you got to take it one day at a time, and it's going to be okay. You know, you did a nice job today. And so he made me feel a lot better. We talked for a little bit, and then I put him back in the tub. And so now I'm just, you know, here in the garage processing this morning. It's April 1st. Hard to know who's a fool today. I certainly am. Anyways, good to see y'all. I'm going to put some classroom stuff in there tonight. You'll have some assignments, choices. Things will be a lot clearer. We're going to approach it from kind of an art process standpoint. I don't have much else. I want to try to not spend too much time explaining things and then having you read them and explain them again. But I think if you look in there, the good news is that people that want to go with this thing, that want to move pretty fast, like you'll be able to pick an assignment pretty quickly and then just go after it. You won't have to wait for people in the class and wait for materials and all those things. So happy April Fool's Day. Hope it all finds you well. I look forward to getting things going a little bit further, and I'll give you an update real soon, but I want to spend a little bit of time entertaining you today. All right, bye.